We're going to start off today's video with a little bit of pretending. Imagine being an artist starting their career at the turn of the 20th century. Your options for art exposure are limited. Maybe you can display your work at your local county fair, or maybe a local newspaper will write about you, or even advertise your work. Maybe you're feeling pretty confident, so you mail some of your precious art pieces to a gallery owner in hopes that they will display them. Photography at this point has become more common, so while you now have the opportunity for prints and duplicates of your work, it has disrupted the place of artists in everyday life. Most likely, you're going to gain recognition from word of mouth by those that know you, even if they aren't art collectors. And you're hoping that that is enough to sustain your career. But word travels slowly. Fast forward over 100 years later, and most people, in the United States at least, have one of these on them. We call it a phone, but it's really more than that. For an artist, it is a direct connection to art collectors and artists beyond your local reach. And that has radically changed the business of artistry. Hi, I'm Lauren Marie Nitka, and this is my bite-sized podcast for artists to think like entrepreneurs. Whether you're an artist, maker, or creative entrepreneur, I believe that you will find something here that you can apply to your life. We've been working our way through my free Start Your Art Business checklist, linked in the description. Click on the link and get your copy for free today. We've covered most of the list, last leaving off with building a website and preparing a point of sales system. We have 3 items left on our to-do list. And today we will be tackling establishing your social media presence. This video is meant to be a quick overview of social media. We will dive more into each of the social media platforms later on and the strategies for posting on them. But today, this is for those of you that are just starting off with your creative business and need to establish a social media presence from scratch or to revamp your current accounts. First, let's define what social media is. According to the Oxford Dictionary, social media are websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. And as I said in the intro of this video, that is a radically new opportunity for marketing. No longer are you just dependent on word of mouth or an established gallery to advocate for your work. You can directly advocate and advertise the quality of your work to others. There are 2 large categories for social media: short form and long form. Short form social media are quick, easy, and to the point. A photo with a mini caption, a 10-second video, stories, and the like. Long form social media are blog posts, podcasts, videos, and more. Typically, long form media takes a little more time, effort, and editing to prepare for your audience. Short form social media would include apps like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Long form would be like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitch, and Tumblr. There is some crossover between the 2 types. For example, you could write a longer caption on Instagram like a blog post, and you can post short videos to YouTube. LinkedIn can be short updates, or it can also be longer posts. But you really have to know your audience to see if that type of content would even be successful for you on those platforms. Regardless of the social media you are using, be sure to set up your accounts as business and creator accounts to access more tools and view insights to your audience and engagement. It is recommended that you have both types of social media, at least one short form and one long form. However, taking on too much at once can be overwhelming, and I've only recently begun my long-form content here on YouTube and Spotify. So let's cover the unique benefits of short-term and long-term social media, and then we can discuss which one I recommend you tackle first. Let's start with the short-form social media and what they have to offer for types of posting. Instagram is currently the best in my opinion. Here you can post images, reels, carousels, and there is in-app purchasing for your audience to shop your posts. People go to Instagram for aesthetically pleasing or inspiring content, which fits art perfectly. Facebook can get more attention for events, but I've typically not found the same quantity of engagement on Facebook as Instagram, though the quality of those engaging with my posts and events is even higher, with shares, RSVPing to events, and comments. There is typically in-app purchasing, but really when looking at Facebook, think about the user. Typically, someone on Facebook is using it to connect with family and friends, to see updates about their lives. So selling may not really fit their newsfeed. You want what you post to flow with people's feeds of their family, friends, home, and the like, while still standing out. I typically focus on posting events that people can invite their friends and family to, and aesthetically pleasing images and videos to inspire others to add it to their home. TikTok can be beneficial for short behind the scenes or talking directly to your audience, but there is no in app shopping currently, and I found the target audience of TikTok is quite young, so they aren't necessarily art collectors currently. But there is a chance to connect with an audience that will grow with you. LinkedIn is great for referring people back to look at your past experience, and you can upload some updates, but it's more for professionals to network rather than to sell artwork to collectors. Twitter is typically more political in nature for thoughts, and it's limited with photos and videos. There's no in app purchasing currently, so I've yet to really hear a good case of why Twitter should be an artist's first and main social media platform. Okay, we've discussed the short form social media options. Now let's dive into the long form. YouTube is a great platform to reach a significant audience. You can post long form videos, do live streams, upload some short videos, just called shorts, and they've added a community post tab where you can engage with your subscribers beyond just videos. There are some YouTube competitor sites like Rumble, which you might be successful in getting a growing audience on there since it is newer, but there really isn't much art content currently on Rumble. You can also upload the videos you produced for YouTube on Spotify through anchor.com, whether as a video episode or just the audio. However, I've hardly had any views on Spotify, and there isn't the opportunity for networking and communicating with your audience beyond reviews. And there are so many more social media options than what I've just listed, but you simply cannot be everywhere online creating fresh and unique content for all of them. When you're just starting, focus on short form first and pick one social media. It's going to be far less overwhelming. I suggest you prioritize Instagram, but you can have settings to upload to Facebook automatically when you load to Instagram. As a secondary social media, Facebook works well to create events. If you want to post to other social medias, recycle your content. We can talk about the ways of managing multiple apps later on, since there are some really good social media management programs. But for now, you can download your Instagram videos or images and upload to those other apps if you desire. Now that you've selected your main social media, develop a sort of schedule and plan for posting. Consistency in type of content and routine in posting is important. This part may be obvious at first, but you will need this reminder. You are marketing your art, so keep it art related. It would be confusing if I shared every aspect of my life on Instagram, like cooking or taking care of my dog. People are following for the aesthetic you provide. You can incorporate other things into that, especially if those things inspire you, but you shouldn't deviate too far from what it is that people are following you for, your art. To stay focused, make a short list of what you do. Define the big picture of what your art business does or what you're all about. My big picture, I am an artist, curator, and educator. I do those three things consistently as part of my business revenue. But on Instagram, I focus on my actual art, designed merchandise to go with my art collections and my curatorial work. I realized a ton of my audience are also artists, so I'll add a couple of short videos cut from these mini podcasts, but I'm not posting infographics or quotes from this because I'm not a business tips Instagram account. And I'll sometimes hide the real thumbnail from my profile feed so more of my actual art shows when you first go to my account. And sure, I'll add little bits of the workshops I teach, but I don't really focus on teaching tips or lessons because, again, that's not my focus. I'll share that I'm teaching a workshop with nonprofits or ministries because it is something else I do and it is something I am proud of. but usually that sharing is in my story, which disappears after 24 hours. I keep my Instagram focused on my art, and I target my audience who are a combination of art collectors and artists themselves. And typically, artists are also art collectors. I suggest you post 3 to 7 times a week on Instagram and spread this out. 3 times a week is an okay start, and slowly getting comfortable with posting more. There is some anecdotal evidence that the algorithm on Instagram will penalize you slightly if you post twice a day. And it also helps you to keep a more balanced workload by not posting all day, every day on Instagram. Post a couple of content combinations, such as short videos called Reels, and also photos and carousels. Carousels are just multiple photos in one post that the viewer can then swipe through. For all those content types, write a short description that has a little hook and add hashtags either in the description or the comments. Hashtags sort of operate like a keyword search. You add these little phrases with a pound sign in front of them to tell the algorithm what your content is about. If you don't tell Instagram what your post is about, it won't know for you. Instagram currently does not scan the description or listen to the audio of your voice describing something, so you have to tell Instagram through hashtags what you've actually got here. When looking up hashtags, research ahead of time. Find things that fit your art or your brand. I try to incorporate tags that are more common searches and include where I'm posting from, whether that's the city I'm working in or the state, and the type of art I'm doing, such as oil painting or portraits. If you only use tags that have millions of posts, your content will most likely get lost. I don't use Artists of Instagram anymore because it's too popular with currently 18.9 million posts, and that's still growing. Instead, I'll write something like hashtag MKE art or hashtag Milwaukee artist. I try to target smaller or mid-sized hashtags between 30,000 and under a million posts. And I'll do a combination of those. We can talk more about building a hashtag library for quick reference later, but for now, find 10 hashtags that aren't too popular but also aren't dead ends, and keep that list with you for when you're ready to post. For my reels, I find my 7 to 10 second reels of my art do the best, but sometimes I'll have a longer reel. In all of my posts and reels, I make sure to include my location. So like the major city I work out of or the gallery district if I was doing something there, because your privacy does matter, so be careful where you post. The reels on my Instagram that I see being the most successful use the music library that Instagram reel editing provides. I don't typically get a lot of views on my original audio or where I'm just talking about my art, but I still like to include some of those reels because when I refer people back to my socials, they can get an idea of who I am as an artist, and it's a more holistic view. Lastly, let's look at your stories. Stories are temporary content that shows up on your profile photo. When you click it, it is there then for 24 hours. Utilize your stories for things that may not fit your profile permanently, so more behind the scenes, the other artists that inspire you, less finessed videos or photos. It is good to post almost daily in your story, but be sure to leave a couple-hour gap between when one 24-hour time period ends and another one starts. And make sure to use stickers in your stories, like location, countdowns, links, all of that. It makes it far more engaging and the algorithm likes it. As you grow your audience and platform, you can consider adding long-form social media. I currently have a very small presence on YouTube, so thank you for each and every one of you that are watching this, but this is my first attempt at building a longer form social media. And I focus on different things here. I'm less focused on what I'm making, and instead I use this platform where I talk about my business as a creative entrepreneur, and I give tips and advice to all of you in hopes that you'll also give me some tips and advice. Next week, we will finish up our Start Your Art Business checklist. We have 2 more things on our list regarding email newsletters and seeking out experts. I will most likely take a little break from this podcast as I get ready for my first ever solo show, Reminiscence. But I'll be back shortly after that. See you next week, Friday.